we go now, baby. Joe and Jingles coming at you with our 9 total best bets for the Sunday morning and afternoon NFL action, spreads, totals, and props. Before we get into all those, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button right down there. Okay, Jingles, you're hitting lead off today. We're going to jolly old England for this one. What do you like for this game?
I don't think people saw Minnesota last week in the early slate in Ireland. They were terrible. Let's go Minnesota. Team total under 20.5, minus 125. Projects for 18.7 points. Minnesota got manhandled at the line. Carson Wentz took 6 sacks, and he was under a ton of pressure by a defense that allowed 77 points heading into week 4 and was missing bodies. Now, we got the right tackle out. We got the left guard out, and center Ryan Kelly is questionable after sustaining his second concussion of the year. I don't mean to laugh at that situation. I just mean to laugh at how bad this is matching up for that Minnesota O-line versus that Cleveland D-line. Minnesota on the season, second worst EPA per play versus pressure. Cleveland's defense, number 2 in creating pressure. It's going to be a pretty one-sided thing. The only thing I worry about is Cleveland moving the ball. But I think we're going to see a pretty conservative game script. I think this is a spot where this could just be a slog of a game. And if you wake up and watch it early, you might just say, hey, you know what? I'm glad I didn't miss it.
Okay, next up, ugly game, but I think a beautiful bet. In fact, it is my favorite bet of the week. We're off to Carolina, where the Miami Dolphins are in town, and we're going to go over the total of 44.5. So a big fat fade of both of these defenses here. Yards per play allowed. These teams come in at 28th and 30th. Dolphins are 31st on third down. Panthers are dead last in pressure percentage with a league low 2 sacks. Tua is going to have a lot of time to work here on Sunday. Panthers have allowed 26 or more points in 3 of 4. Dolphins have allowed 31 or more points in 3 of their 4 games. Both offenses are what I would call capable, especially versus really bad defenses. The Dolphins like to play bully against bad teams, right? Dolphins are second in both third down and red zone offense so far this season. Panthers are 6th in the red zone, providing really good protection for Bryce Young so far this season. For what it's worth, maybe not a whole lot, but these teams did combine for 63 points when they played back in 2023 with a lot of the same personnel. I don't think they'll get quite that high, but I can see them crossing 50 combined points in this one. So give me the over in Carolina. Okay, there's a prop for this game you like. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, let's go Tetero McMillan, over 62.5 receiving yards, minus 115. It did get a bump from 56.5 to 62.5, but I'm playing it here anyway. 2 players in football have at least 8 targets in each game this year. 1, Puka Nacua, and number 2 is McMillan. He's just going to be the focal point of this offense. Chuba Hubbard might not play. He's banged up. Apparently, Dave Canales said this injury is getting worse. Jalen Coker still out. Jatavian Sanders is still out. And Miami still banged up at the corner position. We've seen people have pretty easy time, as you mentioned, Joe, go up and down the field versus this offense, versus that defense. So let's go. Focal point of an offense facing a team that gives up 30 points a game. McMillan over 62.5 receiving yards.
All right, next up, let's go right back to the well on the Lions, going over their team total, sitting there at 30.5 for the game in Cincinnati against the Bengals. So here's my favorite trend of the week. The Lions have scored at least 31 points in 9 of their last 10 games. Going back to this last season, kind of convenient with this number sitting there at 30.5. This includes scoring 34, 38, and 52 in their last 3 games. Now, the Bengals have played Joe Flacco, Trevor Lawrence, Carson Wentz, and Bo Nix, and their defense still ranks in the bottom 10 in the NFL on third down in the red zone. They also rank 29th in pressure percentage. Detroit has allowed just 4 sacks all season. They're in the top 5 in yards per play, and in the red zone, expect touchdowns, not field goals when they get in close. Bengals defense are coming off a season where they had 6 games with 34 or more points allowed. They haven't had one yet this season. I think they're due. They haven't faced an elite offense. So let's go. Lions going to put up a lot of points in Cincinnati. Next up, let's go to beautiful New Jersey for a very ugly game. The Dallas Cowboys are in town. What do you think for this one?
I'm happy to be on the other side of 47, taking the under 47.5 minus 110. Justin Fields is still the quarterback that we thought he was on Monday night, struggling to decide to throw the ball, taking off. 57 of his passing yards did come in the final two drives, and he's got a COP between Mac Jones and Russell Wilson, if you're wondering where he is. And if you're a Jets fan, you're probably still shouting at yourself for that team shooting itself in the foot. 13 penalties in that game, 0 for 2 in the red zone, and they lost Braylon Allen. And on the other side, CeeDee Lamb still sidelined at practice this week, and the offense is a different beast indoors than outdoors. 80 points in 2 games at home, 34 total points on the road versus Chicago and Philly. Neither defense sitting in top 10 teams in EPA per play. And if you haven't looked, that Dallas O-line is banged up. And I'm talking high-end talent. 3 first-round draft picks, all questionable. First-rounder left tackle is dealing with concussion. First-rounder Tyler Smith, knee injury. This year's first-rounder Tyler Booker missed last week and was DMP on Wednesday. And MetLife is just not the track that you're going to shoot out points. The Blitz projecting this 44 points. Game with the 5th fewest plays. So let's go. Ugly game, as you mentioned. Let's stay under that 47.5, Joe.
Okay, next up, my favorite spread bet of the week. I'm taking the Colts minus 6.5 with the Raiders coming to town. There are some 7s out there. If you don't know the difference between 6.5 and 7, maybe you shouldn't be betting on the NFL. So the Raiders kind of had some fun vibes entering the season. Pete Carroll, he's fun. Tom Brady, he's in the mix a lot more. Some stability, or so we thought, at the quarterback position. Not the case so anymore. 4 games in, it is very clear. I think the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Colts are pretty solid. They're going to have a really good chance to bully them. They're going to look to bounce back after that loss against the Rams. That was a very tight game, went right down to the wire. It was tied inside of 2 minutes, and Indy has already bullied 2 really bad teams this season. As you recall, they smacked the Dolphins by 25. They beat up on Tennessee. They beat them by 21. And I think the path to victory in this game is going to come through the air. Indy is tied for first in yards per pass attempt. On the defensive side of the ball, the Raiders are 23rd in that category, and the only respectable quarterback they played so far is Justin Herbert. So look for the Colts to lay the smack down on the Raiders on Sunday afternoon in Indianapolis. Okay, Jingles, one of the better games on this Sunday afternoon slate. Broncos, Eagles, and you have a touchdown score for this one.
Yeah, sometimes it takes losing money to learn some things, and that's what I found out with this. Sean Payton, Denver backfield. We're going RJ Harvey for a touchdown at plus 350, full unit there. He just didn't want to give the ball to J.K. Dobbins in those close goal line situations in primetime last week. Monday night, Dobbins in the backfield, 4th down. Denver's going for it. They call a timeout. And I said, please put J.K. Dobbins back on the field, Sean Payton, you donkey. And guess what? He didn't. He brought in R.J. Harvey to take a wildcat snap, I believe. He didn't score on that, but he did haul in a score later in that game. Finished just shy of 100 yards. He saw 3 red zone carries, a target, while Dobbins saw just 1. It's a tough matchup versus a Philly team, but they're somewhere in the middle of the pack in terms of points allowed. Harvey's role keeps him game script proof. He can play in the passing game. He can play in the running game. Let's get that plus 350 for a guy who might have the goal line work as a hell of a price.
Okay, a lot of ugly games this week. One of them taking place in Arizona with the Tennessee Titans in town. I absolutely love the under in this game, the number at 42.5. I would have guessed 37.5 or 38.5. So let's try to take advantage. So let's check out some offensive statistics for the Titans. Dead last in yards per play, dead last on 3rd down, dead last in points per game. They are, however, first in the NFL in quarterback pressure percentage allowed, allowing the 2nd most sacks in the NFL, 17 in 4 games. And let's not pretend like the Cardinals offense is any good either in the bottom half of the league in many key categories, down to a 3rd string running back right now. Next to no big playability for them either. Now, Arizona's defense has done a good job of shutting down some bad quarterbacks. They allowed 13 to the Saints. Mac Jones got 16 on the Panthers. Only had 15 with about 2 minutes left in that game. So let's go under there. Okay, Jingles, bring it home for us, Cam Scatterboot.
I was pretty upset that I couldn't get this TD anymore at north of 100, but here we are finding another way to bet on Cam Scatterboot, who could have a bigger role. And we're going over 2.5 receptions plus 135. There could be a reception ladder built in here somewhere at this number. Plus 135 bet 365. The plus 120s are good. I think you can take this down to minus 135. The projection 3.71 catches. Indoor game always increases passing volume and efficiency. And he's coming off a huge workload where he's on the field for 75% of the snaps. Tyrone Tracy expected to miss another game. Malik Neighbors is done. And at least 2 catches in every game so far. And now 10 targets that were at Neighbors need to be divvied up somewhere. He went 6 catches for 61 yards on 8 targets 2 weeks ago. I know that was Russell Wilson, but he has the potential to put up those numbers again indoors versus a bad Saints defense. Best way to bet a back who I got money on for offensive rookie of the year and who is starting to build some steam as a big runner in that market. Let's go. 3 catches, big plus money, Joe.
Okay, that does it for our best bets for Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. If you're looking for best bets for the Sunday night football game, we're going to have a standalone video for that right here on the Coverage YouTube channel. Enjoy the games on Sunday. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll see you next time.